The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Badgers? We don't need no badgers. I don't have to show you any stinking badgers.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Movie Busters. I'm your host, Nate, and I am joined, as always, by Brandon. Brandon,
Hey,
how
I'm here
are
to
you?
answer the question, why indeed did it have to be snakes?
why did it have to be snakes? So you know what's funny about that is, first off, I gotta fix the camera because it went to like the whole like low light filter,
not
which
good.
lags out the camera like crazy. Sorry, live listeners. There
Yeah,
you
thanks
go.
for that, because I looked like a blueberry.
No, it works. So anyway, so it is Movie Busters. We are back. We want to apologize because we kind of did it unannounced, not having an episode of Movie Busters last week, which obviously everyone that came here live was aware of because they saw what we did instead. But on the feed, if this is the only podcast you subscribe to, you were unaware. So we brought back That Was Awesome last week, and we did a review for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which is also what's going to be happening next Sunday. For the TLC pay-per-view. So it's kind of an alternating Sunday night thing. It all depends on if there's a pay-per-view or not.
We're keeping it fresh.
We are indeed. So anyway, tonight is our first Halloween horror night and I don't know if I'd say horror because it wasn't really scary, but you know, Halloween slasher movie, creepy movie themed thing. And you know, since this is a new podcast, this is our first Halloween.
This is Shocktober on Mythbusters.
Shocktober. But so we watched the 2010 version of Nightmare on Elm Street featuring Jackie Earle Haley as Freddy Krueger. I wrote them all down.
We
I
had
didn't
Connie
have it
Britton.
in front of me. Connie Britton
We
as
had
the
Clancy
mom,
Brown.
Clancy Brown as the
And
dad.
Katie Cassidy. And those are basically the only notable cast members.
Yeah, I mean, you had Rooney Mara as Nancy.
Was that really Rooney Mara?
That was Rooney Mara as Nancy.
Wow, no shit.
Yeah. Somebody named Quentin. Or Kyle was Quentin. Quentin was Kyle. I don't know. I wrote them down. I was kind of rushing because it was a crazy day at work while I was watching the movie. So like the notes at the end, I got all my sound clips, but the notes were, yeah. So anyway, so I think most people are at least somewhat familiar with the story of Freddy Krueger. You know, he was a pedophile that was killed by the parents of the children that he was molesting, came back as an undead dream dude and killed people in their dreams. The 1984 version, was it 84, the original?
81, I think. Hang on, I'm typing with one hand. 84, yes, you're
All right,
correct.
so the 1984 version, obviously, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. He's up there with Voorhees and Michael Myers, like, you know, the trio,
Yes,
the
Trinity of Death.
Right. So this movie wasn't all that well received. I consider it to be highly underrated. I can understand why it wasn't well received.
With a 5.2 on IMDb.
Right. But if you look if you look on Amazon, it's like 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on what your perspective is. Now, my perspective here is when it comes to slasher movies, I don't mind them, but they're not my favorite.
They're not my favorite.
I, however, love serial killer movies. So because of the focus on Freddy's backstory in this movie and the focus on what he did, they being 2010 as opposed to 1984, they obviously pushed the line a little bit further with showing how much of a pedophile he was, and you got a lot more face time with Krueger before the burns. You saw him around the children. There were some very disturbing lines while he was Krueger that he said to some of the girls. So they pushed that envelope a little bit harder.
And Jackie Earle Haley in and of itself,
Is
that's
creepy.
it's a serial killer kind of name.
Right. So
And if you've seen him in Preacher or
Preacher
Watchmen
was the
or
other one.
anything else, he's
Now, there was
fucking great as a creepy, murdery guy.
There was a TV show that he was in that was around for about 2 seasons where he played the sidekick, and it was based off like an old 80s. If you probably not in his most notable, but it was mid-aughts.
The Tick?
No. But anyway, so while you're looking for that, but no, so I enjoyed that element of it. I think
Human Target?
What's that?
Human Target?
Human Target. I think it would have worked better if it wasn't a Freddy movie. If they didn't have the supernatural element and they just made him like this sick, sadistic pedophile who got ousted by the parents and then like escaped and then just came back as an adult to take out the teenagers.
I totally forgot he was in Human Target. That is great.
Yeah, he was the assistant.
Yeah.
So I think that would have worked better because I can understand where, other than the fact that he invaded the dreams, there wasn't a lot of supernatural to him. Like you didn't have, like you in the very beginning, after he killed the kid in the diner, you had the scene where like he came out through the wall. But other than that, which was the throwback to the 84 one, you had the scene where the girl got bounced all around the bedroom. That was obviously the throwback. But other than where the three scenes, the last one being the bloodbath towards the end of the movie, other than those three scenes, it wasn't very supernatural other than the main premise.
Right.
It was very down to earth. And that's what I enjoyed about it. So where did you come away from this one compared to the original? Where you aren't a slasher guy at all.
Yeah. I mean, it was mediocre. It started out, I was pretty interested in it, but it's very predictable, and it's totally a CW movie. Half the cast are actors from the CW current. It's very much in the vein of like a darker supernatural episode. I kept expecting Sam and Dean to come and take him out and burn his bones. But that's where I'm at. I mean, it was not... I mean, even with Connie Britton, she's on American Horror Story, or she was, and all of that falls into place. The cast fell into place for me. It wasn't until the back half of the movie where I really lost faith. And I mean, just the fact that they go realistic and they really play up the pedophile aspect.
Right.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, it got a little... I mean, there were some things where it was bad. I mean...
Oh, and you know what else really didn't do it for me was the fact that when they start the movie, they open in a diner, and your main characters kind of all show up, but they're not played as like high school characters then. And then the next day, they're in class, but they all look 35.
Yeah, no. So,
I get that that's a thing that happens in movies where everybody's really older, but they did not look like...
So this was 2010, right? So we're talking 7 years ago. And the girl that played Kris, the only notable one, Katie Cassidy.
Yeah.
She's basically our age.
Right.
So that would have put them at like mid-20s. So it wasn't that bad. I mean, even then, like they're Hollywoodified. So even the ones that are 20 are going to look 30.
I'm pretty sure one of those guys is from Twilight.
You know, I was thinking that, but I've never seen it. The one that played...
yeah, the dude that killed himself in the diner, right?
No.
No.
The wasn't it the one that was with her till the end?
No, not that guy.
Because he's the one that looked like one of the characters from Twilight.
No, so in Twilight, not Kyle.
See, because he looks like he'd be in Twilight.
And not Thomas. This guy right here, Kellen Lutz, the dude that is in the diner when the movie opens.
Oh, yeah, Twilight Saga.
Yeah. Because
so who does he play?
I don't know.
It should
I
say
don't
right
know
there.
those fucking movies. I already went back. Why do I have to look? I don't want to know. Emmett Cullen.
Yeah.
So he is one of the main characters throughout the series, if he's a Cullen.
Okay. Very interesting.
Very uninteresting.
Yeah.
Fuck that movie.
I mean, whatever. It makes money. I'd rather see that succeed than 50 Shades.
Well, 50 Shades is successful fan fiction of that.
Right. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. But that's coming back for a third one, I guess.
50 Shades of
like,
freedom?
Of freedom, yeah. Or escape or something.
50 Shades of I don't give a shit. So anyway.
Yeah. So we'll kind of get into the breakdown?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I like the unintentional transition to the diner. So, yeah. So we start off in the diner with that character, and he's freaking out. We start off in a dream.
You know what we've really failed to do here in the beginning of this? We're doing a Friday the 13th movie, and it's not a pure one.
Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yes, I don't know why I said that. Oh, because I don't care about slashers that much. We're doing a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and we're kind of, it's after work for you and late at night for me, and we're sedate. But why we didn't start this podcast with 1, 2, Freddy's Coming for You, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. It's a damn fail. It's a damn shame. Start the whole thing over.
Well, it's also not the original.
Well, that's what I mean.
So we'll keep
it's not Friday
Nightmare.
It's not Nightmare on Elm Street proper.
No.
No. Clip me.
Clip you. All right, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to give a forewarning to everyone that's listening live and on the podcast version. The audio in this movie was not normalized at all. So I did my best to edit down the volume of these clips, but if something comes in a little too loud, I'm going to apologize in advance. But we're gonna set up every clip. I'm not going to play one out of the blue, so you'll know if there's a chance. But they should be okay. But just in case, I didn't want to blow anybody's ears out. So here we go.
I told you if you keep falling asleep, they're gonna kick you out of here.
Sorry. Won't happen again, okay?
Okay.
So there we're in the diner. We have the first guy who played Dean, who dies really early, right in the beginning. Now,
Right, and that was terrible acting, by the way.
which one?
Him.
Yeah, he was
I'm sorry.
stiff. Yeah. So
Now, did you see the fact that Nancy? I mean, it's Nancy, but I mean, the way they played it in the beginning of the movie, where Kris came in, did it not seem like she was going to be the main character throughout, and Nancy was just an aside?
So we're pulling back and pretending we know nothing about Nightmare on Elm Street,
Right.
Because obviously Nancy's the
Right,
main,
exactly.
right? It up until she was killed, it just seemed like Kris was the main,
Right.
Especially in a 2010 movie, she was the more attractive one. She was the blonde. It just seemed like
I mean,
was.
for all the screen time that she got for the first half of that
She
movie.
got the majority of it.
Right.
She was the main until she died.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they gave it to the, like...
It also seemed like, I mean, obviously all the parents knew something.
Right.
But so, see, okay, so obviously we can't really talk about this movie without talking about the 84 one. So the thing about the 84 one is obviously Nancy was the main, as she was in this, right? The thing that... So the guy that played the main... Now, in this movie, he was the principal.
Mm-hmm.
In the original, he was the sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the actor's name who played the sheriff in the 84 one, but he's a damn good actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in so many things back then. The woman that played the mom in the 1984 one is just annoying to look at. Like, I can't stand her character whenever I watch that movie. So... Obviously, you have, so Heather Langenkamp, that she plays Nancy in the original.
Yeah. Johnny Depp, Robert Englund, Lieutenant John Saxon. Is that who you're talking about?
Yes.
The sheriff.
Yes.
Yep.
So he's in a whole bunch of shit. Now, who played the mom?
I don't know. What was her name?
Go all the way back up. What was Nancy's last name?
Oh, Thompson.
Thompson. So it would be
Lieutenant Marge.
yeah.
Yeah, she's hard to look at.
Like not even like I mean she's like 80s attractive, I guess, but like I just
Well, what it is like, what the hell's going on here?
yeah.
It's like
She's
twice
got a very
as long as it should be.
yeah. She's got a very stern.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, but anyway, not the point. So, yeah, so obviously Nancy's mom in this movie fulfilled that role, but like it very much seemed like Chris's mom was going to be the one that fulfilled that role. Like we have that conversation where actually right here we have that conversation between Kris and Chris's mom that makes it seem like they're the mother-daughter of this movie as opposed to Nancy. Wrong one.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Mom. Where are all the photos of me from when I was younger? They're not here.
Who knows? They're probably packed away over the garage. Why?
Because today at the funeral, I saw a photo of Dean and I when we were like 5, but you know, it's funny. I don't remember knowing Dean before high school.
Who can remember being 5 years old? Hey, why don't you pack those up? Dinner's almost ready.
You know what's amazing to me with no video to that audio? How terrible the dialogue is.
It's all terrible. It's
Hi.
all it's
Hi. I was looking at photos and fucking put some fucking emotion into that shit.
Now here's the thing though. Now let me ask you this. Okay, so think about how a teenage girl would like who's maybe a little scared, her friend just died, whatever, would talk to a mom. Like when you have natural dialogue, especially as a teenager to your parent, it's typically not engaging dialogue. So
I still don't have engaging dialogue with my parents.
Right,
I'm
so
just
the-
kind of a grunter.
So the fact that that's not engaging and just very unemotional and just empty, like, doesn't that make it more realistic for what it's intending to be?
I guess so, but I just don't find it believable.
Right. So, but anyway, so with that scene, so there's, the parents are all obviously hiding something. Now, you know what? This was actually, it made me think of Star Wars a little bit. And the reason it made me think of Star Wars, not obviously for any plot purposes, right? But so when you had the 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street, it was very, like, you were kind of surprised. Like, it wasn't until about halfway through the movie that you started to get the idea that these adults knew something.
Right.
With this one, they took liberty with that. Just like with Star Wars, right? So like with the original trilogy, it was hidden who Vader was. Whereas with the opening, with the prequels, they kind of took liberty with the fact that we knew that Anakin was going to be Vader.
Right.
And they kind of threw it in our face. So with this one, they took liberty with the fact that, look, like, we know the parents are hiding something. We know that the parents killed Freddy. So they kind of took liberty with that and threw it in our face the whole fucking movie.
The difference here is that Star Wars was a continuation. I mean, it was a prequel, but still a continuation of what we already had.
Right.
This was basically a shot-for-shot remake.
For the most part.
I mean, yes, there were some liberties, but yeah, we know.
But we didn't.
So,
Yeah, we didn't need it thrown in our face the whole movie.
No.
That we killed Fred Krueger.
Well, it's so apparent.
Right. So we'll keep talking again how we thought that, again, if you don't know, like, it seems that Kris is going to be the main character because you don't get any interaction with Nancy and Freddy until over halfway through the movie.
No.
But you get this interaction, which makes it seem like this is who Freddy's after.
Hi, Kris.
Who are you?
You look just as beautiful as ever. You have nothing to worry about.
So we start to get the pedophile vibe, but we also get the whole, like, okay, this is who he's focused on. Like, you're just as beautiful as ever. Like, hi, Kris. Like, he knows her by name. Like, she's the focal point.
Right.
None of that is changed until she dies. So I don't understand. Like, it's just bad writing, bad directing. Because in the original, it is impossible to mistake Nancy for not being the main character the whole way through.
Right. I mean, I don't know if they're just trying to throw us a curveball here to be like, oh, look, we've done something different. But not really, because halfway through we lost momentum and had to go back to the original plan.
Right.
I don't know. What I do want to know is, when you were in kindergarten, did you not know everybody and still remember everybody that you went to kindergarten with because it's your first interactions with other kids?
Well, it was preschool, not kindergarten.
I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about you. Did you go to preschool?
Me. I don't remember it.
See, I remember all of those
I remember kindergarten.
I had 30 kids in my kindergarten class. I remember them all and all those interactions, right? So even if it was preschool, that's, what, a year difference? Like 2 years difference? Whatever.
A year,
like,
yeah. Well, preschool, pre-K, kindergarten.
Yeah, okay. So regardless, like, are you really going to forget that aspect of your life?
I don't remember a single person I went to kindergarten with. I remember my teacher, Mrs. Lowell.
I remember everybody.
And I remember the day that my mom announced that she was pregnant. Actually, quick funny story. So I don't remember this at all, but I remember, I've been told it. My mom was pregnant with Ethan.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. She came to pick me up from school, and again, I don't remember this, but my mom told me this, and my teacher, Mrs. Lowell, said, "Oh, when are you due?" And I turned around to my mom with a dead stare and went, "What?" So I'm hoping that's how that happened, because I'd like to think that I was that much of a jerk back then.
Right.
But again, I don't remember that. I remember being told it.
Right.
I don't remember it.
Right. No, that's funny. I remember all of those times back then, but, like, these kids have just forgotten everything, and they went to school together the whole time. You'd think somebody would have talked about it.
But keep in mind, they've also all been molested, so there is the whole repressed memories thing.
Right, but I mean, outside of that, they all went to the same school. You think that they, at some point, that would have come up, right? Did they all just forget the entirety of preschool? Oh, we went to Badham, whatever it was. Like,
Plot device.
Yeah, I know, but come on now.
A bad
Hey,
one.
did we go to school together? Yeah, you had fucking class picture day. That's usually something you don't forget. I understand you were being, like, caught up in shit, but... And that's another thing, the cave. We'll talk about that later, but, like, the scene where they go to the cave in the end of the movie,
Yeah.
don't they, like, drive pretty far to get there?
But they drove to the school.
But was that the school? Because didn't they end in, like, a factory?
No, that was the dream sequence. They were in the cave that was in his room. Because remember, they said he lived
Was
under
that in the basement,
in
though?
the basement, yeah.
I don't know. Fucked up.
Yeah, no, it's overly dramatized.
And that's another question I have. In this movie, they act like for a while, oh, well, you killed Freddy, but he didn't do anything. He was innocent. You guys suck. Was that something that happened in the original movie?
No.
I didn't like that. We were wrong. Well, yeah. Well, think about it. You got some weird gardener guy named Freddy, and he lives in the basement? And he wears a hat? Of course he's creepy. Why would he be innocent? Do you remember him being like... I don't want to get insulting. Any more insulting than I already am. Was he special? I mean, no. No, he had bad... That was another creepy-ass thing. I have some pictures, too, but they're really bad. Creepy on many levels. Maybe you can help me fix him with his weird, like, Sling Blade voice.
Right.
Oh, that Freddy. What a guy.
All right. What a man. So here's where the teenagers, the young adults start realizing that they're having the same dreams.
Kris, listen, we've all...
I know what you're gonna say. But now every time I dream, I always see this man. And he's burned and melted. And he's always trying to attack me with these knives.
on his fingers.
He finished my sentence.
So what did you think about the makeup in this movie versus the makeup of old? I'm pretty sure that the makeup of old were practical effects and this was a lot of CG action.
No, this was all makeup.
Even the holes in his face that moved and shit. The tendons that are like... Because there's obviously a hole right here.
Right. Yeah, it was all practical. It was all makeup. He spent a lot of hours in the makeup chair. As far as what I've read, I mean, it might have been enhanced, but
Either way, I like the original better.
I think that this is more realistic.
Well,
But
yeah, but
I
it's
don't-
2010 versus 84. It's going to be.
I don't like I just mean the fact that they didn't go so comical with it.
Right.
But I don't like depending on certain angles, he looked interesting, to say the least. He didn't I don't know, again, it wasn't over the top. It was more a burned dude, which goes with the whole, like, other than it being Freddy and that he was in the dreams, it pulled the supernatural away a little bit. His facial expressions weren't clearly defined as they were in the 1984 one, where, again, having that many burns would screw your face up completely.
Right.
So,
Here's two fun facts that are kind of unrelated.
sure.
The original 84 version, Jackie Earle Haley auditioned for, and his friend went with him to the audition. Not to audition, just to go with him as his friend. And it just so happened that it was Johnny Depp. And the director spotted Johnny Depp for the role and chose him over Jackie Earle Haley. And then almost 30 years later, Jackie Earle Haley plays Freddy. Almost said Jason.
Because Johnny Depp has better things to do.
Yeah, and Rooney Mara hated this movie so much that she almost quit acting over it.
Which one was that?
Nancy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I could imagine, because it couldn't have been comfortable to be in that role.
No.
So you mentioned that we made the mistake of not playing this. They didn't even have it in the movie much. There was the one scene when it was right before this clip here where they were walking in the school when Kris was with her younger self, and you hear the 5-6 grab a crucifix.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, you don't hear that in this movie at all.
No, not really. And I wanted to say, you mentioned the earlier one being goofy. All of those 80s horror movies are goofy, but it's funny because it
Well, the
falls...
Jason ones aren't. Freddy was always more comical than scary.
Right, but my point is, over time, like, it's that old cliche where, like, you live long enough to become a hero or whatever. The villains are around long enough to be heroes.
Or the heroes to be villains.
Yeah.
You either die a hero or...
That. So, like, these movies, as they get a million sequels, get goofier and goofier and goofier. Even Jason, like, by the time it's Jason X,
Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, all of that, like... It's no longer scary. It's joke, and
right.
the beloved bad guys. You know, it's meant to be terrifying and shit in the beginning, but then it's like, no.
So here is some more Freddy, because like his makeup or not, like the character or not, I thought he nailed the voice, and I loved his creepy laugh.
Oh, I like him. I like him in the role. I just thought the movie could have been better.
Right.
3, 2, 1. Ready or not, here I come.
Tried to turn the volume down there for the nails on the chalkboard.
Ready or not, here I come in my pants.
So yeah, again, he was dark. He was scary. I think that side by side, this Freddy is scarier than Robert Englund's.
Oh yeah, for sure. But again, like, it goes back to the sense of realism you get in this movie with him.
Right.
Like, yeah.
You also get him much, again, back to the whole, they tried to, he does sound like Duke Nukem. Growly.
Kick ass and chew bubblegum.
So this is a little bit of dry humor. And we get vulgar Freddy, which I don't think we've ever gotten before up to this point.
What do you want from me? I don't know, Jesse. You think you could turn back time? Answer me! No. Do you think you can bring the dead back to life? No. No! No! I didn't fucking think so. No! 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 Why are you screaming? I haven't even cut you yet.
Yeah, that was definitely a choice that they made to have him say fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about your supernatural slashers swearing?
I'm okay with it. I mean,
like, it just seems weird.
It seems like maybe that's an over-the-top kind of choice to really pound home the fact that we want you to be afraid.
Right.
But it's, again, like, if that was the situation,
you'd fucking think so.
He would say fucking. If that happened in real life,
right?
I'm coming to get you. It's not greased up deaf guy. It's fucking Freddy, man.
Right.
Now, if Jason said fuck, that'd be weird, but...
Fuck. I like that we had the same idea there.
Good stuff.
But that's definitely a soundbite. Can you hit M on the keyboard? Thank you. Oh, fuck.
An M in the space bar?
Yep. All right. Hopefully that's seamless. But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it worked. He's dark. He's scary.
Well, what do you prefer? Fuck or no fuck? To fuck or not to fuck?
To fuck or not to fuck? That is the question. See, so again, it ties back to, are we like supernatural, goofy, over the top guy? Because I don't think he's gonna swear. I think if you had Robert Englund's Freddy swear, I think that would have been weird.
Mm-hmm.
This is very dark, very gritty, very real. Again, other than the dream aspect,
right?
So I think it makes more sense. I think it fits this. I think it fits this Freddy.
Does anybody else say fuck in the movie?
I don't think so, because they're all kids, remember?
When did you start saying fuck?
When I started listening to George Carlin in 98, 99.
Was it that far?
Yeah.
I said fuck in kindergarten. But it goes back to conversations in other shows about how our
I remember, because
monologues in our heads and everything seem the same throughout your life. Like, I feel like the way I am now is the way I was then. So.
I went from extremely innocent and naive to very dark and gritty. Like, okay, so we talk about childhood memories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't remember a lot from elementary school. I remember Jason Sparks being like the mailman kid for the postal service in 5th grade when I was a couple years behind them because they did that whole thing with the post office.
Yep.
I remember in 3rd grade, I had a teacher named Mrs. Lapp, and for April Fool's Day, we put thumbtacks on her chair, and that got us all in trouble.
I've been down that road.
And the other thing that I remember is fuck.
I remember that,
What
too.
were we talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So I remember, so I was a big Saved by the Bell fan, right? And there's an episode of Saved by the Bell where Morris is acting all like highfalutin.
Is that Zach?
Yeah. And he goes, "No, I can't." Like he says can't, right? But I thought he said can't. No, I can't. Right? I had no idea what that was. Right? So I was talking, and I remember specifically it was Kyle Lombardo, who's passed away, and Tony Dahl, Anthony Dahl. And I had said, "No, I swear." Like he said, "No, I can't." And they're like, "He didn't." I said, "Like, no, he did." So I didn't know what it meant. I had never heard that word before. Right. Because I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, 5th grade. I don't think it was 5th. It was Mrs. Oak. So it was, I think it was 4th or 5th grade. But they had told me to go ask the teacher what cunt meant. And I went and asked Mrs. Oak what cunt meant.
I remember specifically in 3rd grade in Mrs. Oliver's class, we were calling each other yellow.
Yellow.
Yeah, and that ended up just being the wrath of hell being brought down upon us.
Being called yellow?
Yeah.
Yellow? Why?
Because it means chicken shit, right? We didn't know that. We're just yellow.
Yeah.
But she knew that, right? So it's a matter of
but isn't that like an appropriate way for a child to say it?
Yeah, but you can't say that. Like that's my point. Like innocence gets you in trouble because we didn't know any better, but you obviously thought that we did. Right. So like we're getting screamed at for, you can't say that to each other. That is terrible and wrong. It's yellow. Like, you know, I mean, obviously some kid heard somebody say it but didn't get the meaning. Right. Yeah, I mean things like that happened all the time. I used to moon people on recess, and like I got in trouble for that all the time and didn't realize like how inappropriate it was. But
look at my ass.
That was one of those things where I would do it and the teachers would scold me, but they would have that bemused look on their face and you could tell that it was funny. So obviously I could see that, so that's gonna make me do it more, right? Right. Oh yeah, I remember all kinds of things from elementary school. I remember in kindergarten when, did you have the moment where you like got to the back of the bus and like you would show your privates off? No. Oh yeah, everybody in kindergarten did that. That's
weird.
There was a big period of time where like everybody would be on the back of the bus and like.
I also didn't take the bus to school.
Well, I lived on the literal town line where I grew up, so it's the first one on and the last one off. It was an 1.5 hour long bus ride. 7 to like 8:15.
All right. If anybody else that's listening to this show ever revealed their privates on the bus, email us at moviebusterspodcast@gmail.com.
Well, okay. So, not to name names,
because that's weird.
We go to Limitless, right?
Right.
And that dude that I grew up with that goes.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. He was on the bus with me then. We went to kindergarten together and up there.
That's weird.
He was not the only one, man. It was like 30 of us.
I think that's more of like an up in the county thing than it is.
That was in Bangor.
That's county compared to Portland.
I guess. You know what I think it is
privates
about
on a bus. I think I saw that one.
You know what I think it is I think you're right in regards to it being less
now,
people.
When was this?
This would have been 1990.
No. But so kindergarten.
Yeah. Kindergarten.
Okay. Yeah.
But again, like you're right where it's like country, a lot of less people on the bus. When I started taking the bus here, there were so many fucking people on the bus, like you couldn't get away with anything on the bus.
Yeah, no.
I only took the bus for like a week, and then I started walking because I couldn't stand it.
I never took the bus. I only ever took the bus when I went to the paths.
Yeah.
For the tech part, like the tech classes.
Right.
And I remember me and Corey Murphy.
Oh, Corey Murphy.
And that was I very, very specifically remember one particular bus trip where it was my introduction to DMX. And like
the rapper DMX?
I really liked the song X Gonna Give It To You.
Yeah, X is gonna give it to you. Cynic X gonna give it to you.
Maybe that was the start of the love of X.
Right? I almost said rabies. That didn't make any sense.
X gonna give you rabies. So anyway, we are now in the point. Oh no, hold on a second. This is a cool. So this next line, if you look in the fact check of IMDb, this is true, and I don't know. It's pretty cool, and I like that they used it in the movie and that it's biologically accurate.
Did you know that after the heart stops beating, the brain keeps functioning for well over 7 minutes? Huh. We got 6 more minutes to play.
I love his laugh because he nails like the creepy like.
I'm coming in my hand knit sweater.
Right.
That's true though.
Oh, did you know that the woman that knit the sweater for this movie is the same woman that knit the sweater in the 1984 movie?
Yeah, I read that. Well,
That's cool.
Since we've been sitting here, but yeah, so we have 6 more minutes to play.
Again, creepy fuck.
Right.
And that just ties back to you didn't get the creepy fuck vibe from Freddy in 84.
No.
He wasn't a creepy dude.
No.
He was just a killer.
I kind of miss all of the shit that happens in those movies where he becomes different things and all that shit in the dreams.
See, and even then, like my favorite now, maybe it's just a telling of my taste. I like the gritty real.
Well,
of
this
the
is
original,
so much more a story of a serial killer kind of person in this movie.
Right.
So I would think that you would like this better, where that is over the top, like puppetry.
Right. Of the original Freddy movies, my favorite is Wes Craven's New Nightmare because we had talked about that. I think we were just talking.
Yeah.
Where Freddy comes out of the movie and now he's haunting people's nightmares in real life.
Right.
And like he goes after Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy, like, and it's got Wes Craven in it. It's got the sheriff actor in it. Like all of these actors and actresses that were in the original movie are in this movie as themselves.
Right.
And like it's Freddy in real life, and he's darker and he's much more evil. And she kills him by tricking him to go into a furnace because fire is his weakness.
Of course.
Was
he not afraid of fire in the first iteration of this movie?
I believe so, because fire is what killed him.
Right. So do they burn his bones at the end of the movie? Is that what happens?
In this one?
In the first one.
In the first one? I don't remember.
I don't either. It seems like they like dig his bones up or something and set them on fire. But again, like I also have an image in my mind of like a walking flaming skeleton. So it's been a while since I've seen any of those movies.
I have no idea. So now we're at the point now where Kris is dead, and we go back to the original story of where Nancy was the main character, and she is starting to realize something is going on, and now her mom. This is essentially the same scene we had earlier with Kris with slightly different dialogue.
Do we ever know a guy named Freddy? I don't think so.
So again, like you had mentioned, it's almost like they were going with Kris, and then they did a complete 180.
Yeah, they just
because again, the
wrote
same
build
exact scene setup.
Right.
Right.
Like, what is the point of that?
Yeah, I don't know. The movie, I mean, the movie was fortunately pretty short. It only clocked in at like an hour 25.
Yep.
So, but I mean, I don't know. It's whatever.
I did like Chris's death, though. I mean, they had some pretty good effects in this movie, all things considered. Flopping her throughout the room and then
that was
shredding
cool.
her up. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a cool scene.
The blood at the end.
The one that got me was when what visually looked like the guy just dragging the steak knife through his throat.
That was really good.
Yeah, that was done very, very well.
Yep.
And that made me quiver a little bit because it also was the very first death.
Right, it's right off the bat.
You didn't have a chance to kind of warm up a little bit, and it wasn't goofy. It wasn't like an axe thrown through the forehead.
Right.
Like that's the one thing about the '80s horror movies is they're all very campy in their deaths too.
Right.
So, and this was just like, just steak knife through the throat. Like, and it wasn't even like it was dragged across. Like, it was visually designed to look like the knife was in his throat.
Yeah.
He was basically decapitating himself. And I thought it was done well. I thought that scene looked pretty cool. So now we're at the point where she asks her mom about Freddy, and then she runs off and calls. You don't know who she calls yet. You obviously know that it's the principal, but you don't quite get that. They don't give it to you right away.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I almost said Heather. Nancy's starting to remember.
Mm-hmm. And
then they just kind of go with it. Her and the other, who's the other? I wrote them down backwards. Is Quentin his name or is Kyle his name?
I think it's Quentin.
Okay. So Nancy and Quentin What's the? He should be close to the top.
I'm in the right one. Yeah, it's Quentin.
Okay, Kyle's the actor's name.
Yep.
Okay, so her and Quentin they're at the point where they have to team up, and the other thing that they did in this movie, and again, it's almost 30 years later, so the science behind the lack of sleep is very accurate, and they talk about how
the micro naps and all
right, the micro naps, and then you slip off into a coma.
Permanent sleep.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So they started to have those micro naps where it was almost very matrixy, where like you had like the dream and the reality kind of existing on the same plane, and I thought that was pretty cool. But we get to that point, and then the father stops them. Everyone kind of understands. So then he is swimming. He's exhausted. He's starting to have his micro naps.
I thought that was hilarious too, how they went from such a heavy thing where they find everything out, and then they're gonna go and do some shit. Then he shows up, get in the car right now. Next scene, he's back at school at a swim meet or whatever. Yeah.
Now, this is
So, I don't know about you, but if you're like 16 or whatever they're supposed to be, and you find all that out, and then your dad says, get in the car, and the next day you're just going to school doing your thing, like, wouldn't you be a bit more rebellious if you knew all of that kind of heavy shit?
He seemed very, very submissive to a dad who seemed very controlling.
Well, I guess Freddy broke him in, and then he was used to it when his dad started in on him.
I don't think that was the implication.
Damn you, Clancy Brown!
So we had talked about downtown Clancy Brown.
Oh my god.
So you had talked about how they had set him up for like the last third of the movie to where they give the impression that he might be innocent. And you said you didn't like that. See, and I thought, like, he's not. But I thought it was interesting because it almost seemed like Freddy was trying to as well.
Right.
Like the way some of the dreams went, including the dream where Quentin wakes up in the pool and you see Fred run and being chased by the cars. And, Jackie acted that very well when he was holding the door shut in the warehouse going like, what are you coming after me for? Whatever you think I didn't do it, which obviously is typical.
Right.
But they definitely, again, if you separate this from the 1984 movie, they definitely give the potential impression that it was just a misunderstanding.
Oh, they do. But it just goes to show that kids tend to jump to conclusions and are totally fallible.
So now,
I guess it adds an extra layer to the movie, but I mean, did we need to waste all that time with all that? It definitely sets up, I guess it sets up the flashbacks, what you just said about him running and everything.
Right.
It gives you the extra space to show that story.
Right. And that was the point, because it shows, because obviously Freddy gives him this flashback.
Right. And the whole like repressed memory thing. Like, I guess obviously they're going to think he's not guilty because they're not going to remember all the terrible things that happened.
And why would Freddy try to show them? I mean, I suppose he's got them captive in their dreams.
Yeah.
Does it almost become kind of a Stockholm syndrome?
I would think so.
Yeah. So this is the parents in the dream that Freddy is giving to Quentin, talking about killing Fred Krueger.
What are you doing? No. This isn't the right way. We've got to.
And what is the right way? Our kids get on a stand and have to tell a room full of people what happened to them?
Right, Gwen. He's right. This is not the way.
This ends tonight.
This ends tonight. Does that seem realistic?
That the parents would all hunt him down like a mob?
Yeah.
I would think that it's realistic that they would want to, but nobody actually would, I don't think.
Right.
Not in this day and age.
No, I mean, that was supposed to be like the 1980s.
Yeah. But even in the 80s, I don't know. Where does this take place? Where is Elm Street?
Everywhere. That's why they picked it.
Yeah, I know that, but like, I don't know. I like to think it's like middle America.
Small town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indiana, That's what I'm thinking. So, like, maybe?
They keep up the pace.
The Bible Belt, close-knit society.
I could definitely see Southern Bible Belt doing it.
Right. Oh, yeah. String him up. Cut his hands off. Everything.
Right.
Hot poker in his bum.
What? Something about the Bible Belt, I don't know.
See the look I have on my face right now?
Yeah. There's a camera.
Yeah. I look so much like my father. It's eerie. I don't like it.
Erie, Pennsylvania. Maybe that's where it was. Erie, Pennsylvania.
What?
What? What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a throwback. So now we have Quentin hollering at his father because what if Fred was innocent?
We would have said anything! Why didn't you go to the police?
You were so young.
No, God, and the things we said he did. The cave? Did you ever find it?
No.
How do you know he was guilty? Oh my God. You killed an innocent man.
You killed an innocent man.
Leave it to a kid to really open the old wounds when he knows nothing about what he's talking about.
Now,
The cave was a metaphor for his bedroom in the basement, right?
well, the cave was because it was the secret room in his basement.
There was a secret room.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what they bust into in the end.
Yeah, I obviously
It was
missed. I
because
missed
remember
that
when
part.
she was looking and she goes, "There's something back there."
No,
and that's when
I
they find
obviously
it.
missed
All
that.
right.
Is that when they find all the pictures of Nancy?
Yes.
Okay. I missed. I don't know. I must have got distracted for that one particular moment because I definitely don't remember them going to some secret room.
Yeah, that was at the very end. So, and that's where we kind of get led to now. So he screams at him. They go run off. Now, there are a couple things that were brought in for plot device purposes, like she falls asleep in the store and she gets sliced, right? Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Let's take you to the hospital." That was fucking stupid. Like, that was only done so he could raid the nurse's cart for the adrenaline. Yeah. Because they're obviously going to sedate her. She's got 4 giant gashes on her arm. Right. Why would you take her to a hospital if not to steal? I mean, maybe that was the plan.
Right.
Maybe that was implied, in which... That would have been...
boys. That would have been rough.
Yeah, in which case, okay, cool, smart. But, like, are we supposed to assume he's that smart?
I think you can chalk it up to kids being kids, you know? Like, they're not thinking things through.
Right.
The hospital, obviously, right? But,
right.
Oh, yeah, let's go. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, so then they go run off, they get down, and now they are at the school. They are in the cave. And here comes the truth.
We were wrong. He's not after us because we lied. He's after us because we told the truth.
We told the truth. Yeah, he wants his fucking vengeance.
Yes, he does. Why? Yeah, seriously.
So, I mean, yeah.
I mean, they thought he wanted vengeance anyway, but, like, you would think that if the parents killed an innocent man, they wouldn't be in danger. The parents would be in danger. He would be going after the parents. Unless he's going after the kids to get back at the parents.
Or if he was going after the kid. Well, the whole Pied Piper thing.
Right.
That was, I mean, I wish they had kind of went on that more.
Right.
Right. So there was that. And then I'm going to do that for 1 second. The recording is paused. If you will pardon me for a second, I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay. A momentary break. He just couldn't hold it, ladies and gentlemen. 10 minutes left. Couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. Not gonna do it. Back to jokes. No jokes. So I'm not really a slasher guy. I don't really remember anything about the original Friday the 13th. But when we get to the end of the movie, this isn't going to be on the podcast part, but on the live part, when we get to the end and they kill him in real life. Oh, he's back. He's coming back already. That was fast. You have a tiny bladder, sir.
Well, it's also what I get for chugging a cup of coffee while I was grabbing
That was
clips.
crazy. That's good. I'm glad
For
I didn't.
the need for pee.
I'm glad I didn't make my point because I'll just make it on the show.
Okay. So I'm just going to unpause and go. Okay, so I apologize if the dialogue doesn't line up perfectly. I had to pause for a second. But anyway, so yeah, so now I had to pause. So they know the truth, and yeah, so he was pissed. He was all the subtle implications. He was pissed. So I mean, I get that they were trying to kind of differentiate themselves from the original, right? They tried to make it more real. They tried to make it more gritty. Did they Growly, I love Growly. Growly Bear is awesome. Glad I'm watching live. Otherwise, I'd have missed the P.
Should have taken the webcam with you.
No, I shouldn't have.
Quick, get a GoPro.
So yeah, we get what is probably the most disturbing parts of the movie at the very end.
Yeah.
We really, really get the pedophile vibe. I didn't capture a lot of it because, well, it's disturbing. But yeah, there is probably one of the best lines in the movie, though, which is right here when he has Nancy captured.
Now that you got me, what game do you want to play next?
Fuck you.
Ooh, sounds like fun. It's a little fast for me.
It's like just childhood humor.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to play? Fuck you. Ooh, okay. Like, it's like, I mean...
The connotations are terrible.
Okay, so...
But
now,
obviously, like...
So we said that, so obviously Nancy said fuck once because we had talked about that earlier.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But that would have fit original Freddy. It didn't fit this Freddy.
That's true.
So it almost...
He didn't get a lot of time to be playful like that.
No. And maybe it would have been, maybe that was it. Maybe because Freddy didn't get a lot of screen time in this movie.
No.
There wasn't a lot. And maybe, I guess there wasn't in the original either.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the budget was like in this movie. Maybe they just filmed it straight, like scene for scene with the kids, because that's not a lot of expense.
Right. And they just had... I can't imagine Jackie Earle Haley's all that expensive.
You wouldn't think so.
I would almost think the makeup would cost more than
Well,
him.
that's what I was thinking, was all of that, but who knows?
Right, but if you're going to spend all that money to put him in the makeup, don't you want to get as much out of the makeup scenes as you can?
You would think so.
And like for all the money they spent on the makeup, or at least the time that they spent on the makeup, there were so many scenes where you could barely see him.
Yeah.
It was so
He
dark.
was always shrouded in darkness.
So now you have what is our last clip and some of the last lines in the movie, at least with Freddy existing. And, I mean, I don't know. It's very cliche and been done in everything. And I don't want to say I cringed, but I definitely rolled my eyes when we heard this last line to Freddy here.
It hurts, doesn't it? It's because you're in my world now, bitch.
You're in my world now, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I mean, I assume that was a throwback. I don't remember the 84 one enough, but I assume that was a throwback to something somebody said.
Probably, and that's what I was going to say while you were out of the room, was I'm not really familiar. I don't remember much about the 84 one.
Right.
But, so it ends the same. They pull him into the real world to kill him, right?
There's a lot of it, now that, talking about it and having some memory jogged up, there's a lot that ties in. So the throat slicing in the beginning, that was way off.
Yeah.
I don't think that was included in any way. I'd have to watch the beginning. Because I believe that the first death in the movie was, I think it was Johnny Depp.
Where he's folded into bed.
I think so.
Yeah.
So,
and there's definitely like some sex in those movies, right?
I
don't all those 80s slasher movies have sex?
I don't remember if there's nudity in Nightmare on Elm Street.
It seems to me that like Johnny Depp was doing some fucking right before he died, but I could be wrong.
So, yeah, but other than that, like the bouncing, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but the bouncing around the bedroom was the same.
Right.
The pseudo boyfriend who is framed for the murder of the bouncing around the bedroom gets locked up, gets killed in prison. Now, in the 84 one, he was hung from the bars.
Mm-hmm.
So it was made to look like a suicide.
Right.
That wasn't done in this one. Whereas it was,
No,
the first one was made
How
to
did
look
he
like
die?
In this one?
Yeah.
He had the fist shoved through his chest at his sleep.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. That was right before the the 6 minutes on the brain.
Right. So I would say that in this movie, Nancy and her boyfriend Quentin.
Yeah.
They seem to be the weird kids, the socially awkward kids. They don't really spend a lot of time building the characters, but you can kind of glean from the looks of the kids in the movie, the good-looking blonde and then the kind of buff, dark and handsome guy.
Right.
They're the ones to die first. So obviously the popular kids go, and then it's left to the outliers to save the day.
Isn't that kind of how it is?
Seems to be. Seems to be a theme. So
do you think that everyone that writes horror movies are kind of the outliers?
I would think so.
I think that's why they do it that way.
Well, the weird kids are making horror movies. I mean, look at the people that. Yeah, I would agree with you. So at the end of the movie, they kill him, bring him into the real world, kill him. Then we have the last scene in the movie where she's talking to her mother and how everything's gonna be great. And there's Freddy in the mirror, and he stabs through the back of her head.
Yeah,
I have contentions with that too.
Well, no, I don't have contentions. I wish that this movie had done well because Freddy was pulled out of the dream world.
Right.
And he was killed, but obviously he's supernatural, so he's not dead, right?
Well, that's my question. Like, does this movie break its own rules? Like, I don't understand the rules in the lore of Freddy. Like, what can he do and what can he not do? If he was pulled into the real world and out of the dream world, I would assume that would take all his power away. He's been brought back to life, essentially, right? The ghost brought back to the world.
Okay, I could see that.
So he's killed again, so rather than being... I can't think of the word. What is the word?
Extinguished?
More or less. Yeah, extinguished.
Resolved.
When you get rid of a demon, exorcised, I guess.
Exorcised. He's in shape.
Expelled, whatever. So
he's punished.
So he obviously goes back to whatever. So basically, what I'm led to believe is that he's been reset, and they brought him out, but then they put him right back. They didn't actually do anything. You know, they didn't.
Well, no. See, that's where they almost gave him additional powers, because now, like, he's in the mirror world.
So now he can walk between the rows.
Apparently, like
Yeah.
they've made him more powerful. Like it was like, you know, when you think you're defusing the bomb and you cut the wrong wire and now the timer's counting faster.
Cool VR game.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's more powerful now because like he pulled her mom through a portal in the mirror.
That's true.
And then like that portal closed up when her mom was pulled through.
Very true.
So like again, I almost wish this movie did well so we could have seen what that sequel would have been.
Right. And I mean, Robert Englund himself said that, you know, he was fine with Earle Haley taking on the role and it was a passing of the torch. I'm pretty sure now, like, he's reprised the role of Freddy again, England, right?
No, not since this.
Really? Not in any form?
There has not been a Freddy movie since 2010.
Not even a short or anything?
Not to my knowledge.
All right, fine. Well, either way, like, had it done well, yeah, I think they would have done sequels. But it seems to me that this movie was a one-off until that moment. Like, then they left it open just in case it didn't suck.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's what happened because we got a Friday the 13th remake at one point too, which was the Friday the 13th that everyone from my generation wanted. Because as a Jason fan, I saw like 3, 4, 5 before I ever saw 1 and 2.
Yeah.
In 1, he's a boy, his mom's the killer, and in 2, he's wearing a potato sack.
Yeah.
So you don't even get the hockey mask killer till 3.
Right.
So this was Friday the 13th origin story, but all of the, like, you basically get 1 and 2 in the credits. This goes right into 3.
Yeah, and this movie was supposed to be a prequel initially, and then they dropped that idea and just did a remake. I think it should have been a prequel. I would have been into that. You would have gotten more of Freddy alive.
Right, it would have been a serial killer movie.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I wonder if that would have been received well compared to this.
It depends on how much of a movie you want based around a pedophile, I guess. But
right, and maybe that was why.
Maybe.
Like maybe like some of the stuff that was kept in the remake with Sam Winchester. Are we talking about Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th?
Must be Friday the 13th.
I thought Kane Hodder reprised his role of Jason in the remake. I could be wrong. But I actually liked that. Again, I mean I'm a big Jason fan, so Friday. That was 2009. That was a year before this.
I did not know that Padalecki was in that movie. That's crazy.
Derek Mears was Jason Voorhees in the 2009 remake. Man, that was almost a decade ago. Holy shit.
Time is speeding up.
I know, man. It's not cool. I mean, that got about the same rating as this. It was a 5.6.
Right.
So, yeah. Actually, this would have been before that. This was probably... Yeah. Wow, dude. Freddy vs. Jason was 11 years ago.
Wow. We saw that in the theater.
Yeah, and that was I believe, the last time. Here's England right here.
I'm pretty sure I fell asleep in that movie.
So Robert Englund voices Scarecrow in Injustice 2.
No shit.
The last time that he was Freddy Krueger wasn't nearly that soon. In Zombie Mutation, he was the Dream Man. Because that wasn't a throwback.
My God, he wasn't Friday. That's crazy. I did not know Jared Padalecki was in that. That's nuts.
Okay, so the last time that Robert Englund resembled Freddy Krueger in any way was when he voiced Freddy Krueger in the Mortal Kombat game that Freddy Krueger was in.
No shit.
But other than that, when he was actually in him, did you know that he was the voice of Vulture?
No.
Yeah, he in the Spectacular Spider-Man, he was Adrian Toomes.
I guess I'm not surprised that he also does voice acting. He's pretty distinguished.
Yeah, no, his voice is amazing. In the Superhero Squad, he was Dormammu.
Really?
Yep.
Dormammu.
In The Batman, he was the Riddler from 05 to 07.
Wow.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Real Nightmares, which I assume is somewhere along the line of the Friday the 13th TV show. He was the host, and he was Freddy. That was in 2005. So then, yeah, it would have been 2003. Freddy vs. Jason.
Nuts.
And then there was in Las Vegas, there was a Freddy vs. Jason weigh-in to promote the movie. And
on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he voiced the Dire Beaver.
The Dire Beaver?
Or Dread Beaver, one or the other. Or both.
The Dread Beaver.
He was in The Moment of Belmont Avenue.
Sure. He's got a creepy face too.
Yeah,
I
definitely is made for horror.
I think it's thanks to him that Freddy got as big as it did.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I'm glad we watched it because again, I do think it is underrated. I don't think it's as bad as the ratings make it out to be.
I was excited to revisit it when I started watching it this afternoon. And again, for the first half, I dug it. For the second half, I didn't dig it as much.
Right. I think it was probably a bad pick for Halloween because it's not scary in any way at all.
No.
But
I also watched Maximum Overdrive today.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I like that movie.
We have to do that movie at some point. But I think the ones that are more campy, I think going forward I think we've already kind of decided what our Halloween movie is going to be.
Right.
But I think going forward into Halloween in the next years, I think we should try and focus more towards scary. I think we can do the campy ones whenever.
Have you seen any of the Wishmaster movies?
I have not.
Those are pretty fucked.
No, there's a lot that I'd like to revisit, and we don't necessarily have to wait for Halloween to visit horror movies.
No,
but I mean, like the Puppet Master movies, I'd like to watch. Obviously, this Child's Play. There's a new made for Netflix Child's Play movie.
Yeah, The Cult of Chucky.
Yeah,
I want to see that. I like Chucky movies. Of all of these, I think Chucky is my favorite. Have you seen The Eliminator? Probably not.
No.
The Dentist.
Jesus.
There's a lot of bad, good horror movies.
Yes, there are. So yeah, other than that, no. So are we going with Burton for?
Oh, I believe so.
All right. So again, next week there is no episode of Movie Busters because we will be watching and talking about and reviewing the WWE TLC pay-per-view, which is featuring a lot of TLC matches, including and then the big one I think is gonna be Balor and Wyatt. So I'm pumped to see that. Yeah, if you are a wrestling fan, check that out. That particular podcast is called That Was Awesome, and you can subscribe to that show, or you can always subscribe to the IG Studios mega feed, which has all of our shows, and we'll start to also feature random one-offs as well as I'm sure we'll get a Sincast in here at some point. So, but we'll see.
We can do a Sincast as a year in review because it's been quite a year.
Yeah, the year in review. Yeah, actually, that wouldn't be a bad December thing because we've got a couple Fridays off in December. We could definitely do a year in review Sincast.
Yeah, get a Corey in here. You know.
Oh yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That there we go. We've
There's
cemented
your
it.
listener participation day.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll flesh those details out more. Other than that, we have kind of reinvigorated our Facebook, social media, and our Discord. So if you want to join our Facebook group, you can join. It is The Lounge on Facebook. It has the Inked Geek Studios logo as the header, so that's when you know you're at the right page. You can also join our Discord. If you want to join our Discord and communicate in that social setting as well, it's tiny.cc/IGS Lounge.
I think lounge is a perfect name, especially when you look at our background.
Right.
It's very red and purple and smoky. It's very torch singery.
It's very loungy.
It is. We should start wearing smoking jackets and ties.
You
You get a trumpet. I'll get a fez. It'll work.
It works.
We need like a dancing girl back here. I'll get like a petunia tattoo, like Artie.
There you go.
It'll be great.
So again, if you are in the southern Maine or Massachusetts, New Hampshire area, and you want to join us on December 14th, we are going to be doing a live meetup as well as a watching of the new Star Wars Episode 8. We're going to the 6 p.m. showing.
There are members of This World Has Bees going to that showing with us.
Oh, are there?
Supposedly.
Nice. Very cool. I'm excited for that. So we're going to be there probably around 4:30 in the afternoon. Get your tickets now. If you go to the Movie Busters Facebook page, facebook.com. I believe it's just facebook.com/moviebusters. If not, just look up Movie Busters. You could see the event page on there. Within that event page, there is a link to go buy tickets. I would go buy them before they sell out. There is the IMAX 3D showing, which has already sold out. That's the 7 p.m. show. We are not doing that because the last time that we did a big movie group thing, some people said they didn't want to go because it was 3D. It's also more expensive, and it's Star Wars, so it's expensive enough. Mm-hmm. So it is 6 p.m., so get your tickets now if you want to go. There will be some Funko Pop giveaways. There will be some Dunkin' Donuts gift card giveaways. So if you're local to the area and you want to swing on by, swing on by. And it should be a good time. We'll have our recorders there. We'll be doing interviews, get people on the podcast, things like that. It'll be a good time. Be a lot of fun.
We're having fun.
We're having fun. Things are fun. Tomorrow night, join myself and Amy Frost on Indie Case Files, where we'll be talking about and reviewing Cuphead. It is ridiculously fun and ridiculously difficult. Next week, on Friday, for All Geeked Up, we'll be doing more stuff. We'll probably have a lot of 2K18 WWE to talk about. South Park, The Fractured Butthole also comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll have more to talk about.
So we'll have that to talk about.
After Tuesday goes by.
The new episode of The Orville, I will probably have watched by then. So yeah, there'll be that to talk about. And then on Mind of a Geek next Friday is Miss Abby Wessels, host of Diary of a Trans Woman, former host here at IG Studios. And I am pumped to kind of have her back. She was a guest. She was one of the first guests of Mind of a Geek when she also was just getting started podcasting. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to have her on so she can talk about how things are going and how the show is going. And she travels around a lot and whatnot. And it will be the first time I've gotten to talk to her a lot since Nerdtacular because we've both been really busy since July. So I am pumped to have her on. The next episode of this, which will be 2 weeks from tonight, we will be doing Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes. Was that a question?
Yeah. Yes. I was just reaffirming. Would you believe me if I told you that will be the first time that I've seen that movie in its entirety front to back?
I would not be surprised. I saw that movie in the theater, but I don't think I've watched it fully since then. So I was probably, 10?
Yeah, it's old.
Yeah.
It is old. It's scary to think about how old it is.
I was distracted by the fact that Star Trek Discovery...
Look at the chat room, Amy. Wah! Yeah. That one, and I don't think I've ever even seen Corpse Bride.
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
No. I'm not... I had this conversation with Bill of This World Has Bees last night about how I'm kind of over Tim Burton on a whole.
Yeah.
Just, he doesn't do it for me anymore. But I was distracted when you asked me that because Star Trek Discovery apparently dropped an F-bomb in an episode, which is crazy You don't say fucking the 24th, whatever.
No, but but that shows why they wanted to go streaming service with it. So at least they're taking the liberty of the streaming service.
But on AMC, you've got Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead this season saying fuck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the fucking
They're loosening
Fear
their
the Walking Dead has said it 3 or 4 times at this point.
They are loosening their lips. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be murdering people, why can't you say fuck?
Fucking right?
Because it almost goes back to the realistic thing. Like, are you going to be out there killing zombies and say frig?
Right. And it's so funny to go down a sin-casty path in this day and age. Like, everything is so outrageous, and yet art is imitating life now, for real, on TV.
Right.
Of course people talk
I mean,
like
you've
that.
got a president that swears during televised broadcasts.
Well, when you're a fuckhead, you can't help but swear.
Right.
But let's catch up with all the other countries that do that. There's so many other countries where normal TV, you get nudity and swearing, and that's how life is. So let's just do it.
Well, I don't think we're going to... I mean, and there's a
Take off
difference
your
between
pants and
nudity
jacket.
and
It's fine.
sexualized nudity. It's a big difference there.
That's true. I just want random ramshackle boobies for the sake of it.
There is a Pepsi commercial from somewhere in Europe, and we'll end with this because we've gone way out of movie busters territory at this point. But there was a Pepsi commercial that had 2 people having sex, and the guy stops having sex, grabs a Pepsi, and the caption of the commercial is, "Nothing beats a Pepsi."
That's a good commercial.
Right?
You know
It's
what
gonna
you
make
should
me buy
have?
Pepsi.
Can you put a GIF on the closeout scene? Not that we're going to do this, but have you seen the commercial where the penis like sings itself into an erection?
No, but now I must.
Okay, well, it's funny.
All right. Oh, and other thing, watch Big Mouth on Netflix because it's fucking hilarious.
Big Mouth is good.
We'll talk about that next week on All Geeked Up as well.
Yep.
I'm surprised we didn't mention it this week.
I know, right?
So anyway, this has been a lot of fun. If you want to watch the show live, watch it live on Sunday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/InkGeekStudios. If you had fun with us tonight and like the content that we provide you here at the studio, you can go to patreon.com/IG Studios. We are very close to our $50 a month goal, which will open up the monthly Google Hangout for patrons only, which we will invite you into our private Discord channel and chat with you, and you can ask us whatever you want, and it'll be recorded and put up on the Patreon. And also probably in the mega feed. So we are like $14 away. So if you listen to this or any show, $1 a month, that's a quarter a week. And if you listen, it's for the whole studio. So you've got Movie Busters, Mind of a Geek, All Geeked Up. That was awesome. Indie Case Files. So you've got 5 great podcasts. And it's a quarter a week. So it is really cheap, and it's only $1 a month. So again, patreon.com/IG Studios. A big thank you to everybody that does that currently. You guys help out quite a bit, and you help us keep this going, aside from other really cool things that are being worked on. Yeah, but that's going to do it. A big thank you to our live audience. You guys are always there and always awesome, and it means the world to us because doing this live is incredibly fun. Right?
Yeah, I'm always having a good time.
You weren't expecting me to throw it to you, were you? So anyway, yeah, for Brandon, for myself, and for the rest of Inked Geek Studios, thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Budges? We don't need no budges.
2 weeks.
I don't have to show you any stinking budges.
You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.